We have at last reached the last section of the wasteland, which is also the most difficult section. I am really excited at the prospect of coming to grips with it. We shall begin with the title of the section. The section is titled What the Thunder Said. The title refers to a story in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is one of the principal Upanishads of Hinduism. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad was written by the sage Yajnavalkya. The story that is referred to by the title has Prajapati as its central character. Prajapati can be translated literally as Lord of all creatures or Lord of all created beings or Lord of all creation. Prajapati runs a Gurukula where men, asuras or demons, and devas or gods are students. At the end of the course, each of the three groups approaches Prajapati for a piece of parting advice. The human beings approach Prajapati and ask him for a final instruction. Prajapati just says, Da, which the human beings interpret as Datta or give. In fact, Prajapati asks them what he meant by Da. And the men reply that Da means Datta, give. And Prajapati agrees with them. Next, the Asuras or demons approach Prajapati for a final instruction. He just utters Da, which the Asuras interpret as Dayatvam, sympathize, or love, or be compassionate. And Prajapati declares that they are indeed right in their interpretation. Finally, the Devas or the gods approach Prajapati with the same request. Prajapati gives the same answer, Da. And the gods, the Devas, interpret it as Damyata, control. Prajapati declares that they are indeed right in their interpretation. The thunder keeps on saying Da, 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 and it means Datta, Dayatvam, Damyata. Give, love, control. I feel tempted to point out that this is a common trope in Indian sacred literature. The same question having different answers in different contexts, or the same word being given different interpretations by different persons in different contexts, and all the interpretations being valid, all the answers being valid. For example, there's the story of Shiva and moksha or salvation. The sages approach Shiva and ask him, what is salvation? Shiva replies that it is a long and arduous journey. The Bhutaganas approached Shiva and asked him what is salvation. Shiva bluntly declares there is no such thing as salvation. Finally, Parvati approaches Shiva and asks him what is salvation. Shiva tells Parvati, salvation is being here. You be with me, that is salvation. The point I'm trying to make is that this is a common trope in Indian sacred literature. The same question having different answers in different contexts and all the answers being valid, or the same word being interpreted in different ways by different persons in different contexts and all the interpretations being equally valid. The title of the section, What the Thunder Said, reinforces the thesis that the wasteland represents a journey towards the east, represents a journey which is eastward, represents a journey from the west to the east. The journey of the wasteland began in ancient Greece and in ancient Rome and passed through medieval Europe and also medieval England and through post Great War London in order to reach India, ancient India. It is very significant that T.S. Eliot is able to find a solution to the crisis rocking the Western world in the story of Prajapati and the men and the gods and the demons as related in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. There is one more point which I would like to make. I have already said that every section of the wasteland corresponds to one of the five classical elements. Thus, the burial of the dead corresponds to earth. A game of chess corresponds to air. The fire sermon corresponds to fire. Death by water corresponds to water. And what the thunder said corresponds to either or space. T.S. Eliot's interest in Indian philosophy began when he was a student at Harvard, and he remained a lifelong avid reader of Indian philosophy and Hindu sacred texts. Hinduism and Hindu sacred lore left indelible marks on the life and writings of T.S. Eliot, as demonstrated by the last section of The Wasteland titled What the Thunder Said. T.S. Eliot was a great fan of Indian philosophy, and he once remarked that the philosophers of ancient India, the sages of ancient India, make the great European philosophers look like schoolboys.